Hi, this is Jenny G. Perry, and this is video number 6 in the Jennylicious Jewels video series. We're going to call this one Going With Your Gut. The question is from Marie, and it is about following your intuition, going with your gut. Now, this is something that I learned from my parenting. When you have a baby, you often have a million different opinions, and there are literally a million different ways people do things. People mean well, but what works for one kid is not going to work for another kid, and every family is different. So I think that becomes really important. It's trial and error, but sometimes you're going to try something and you thought it was a good idea, and then you got to shift and try something different. It's the same with anything in life. I've seen people do that with businesses where things aren't going well, but they feel like they have to stick it out because they made that commitment, and you can't be embarrassed about things not working out the right way the first time. Life is not like that. It's not like we have a checklist of things to get done and you get a report card at the end of your life. So you have to be willing to go with the flow. And sometimes things change, factors change. Sometimes we may think that someone's healthy for us, and then they turn out to not be healthy for us. And instead of beating ourselves up for why didn't we know that was going to happen, we just have to say that we saw one side of them, and then they showed us a different side of them. And so intuition is really like, it's God's way of speaking to you through your feelings. You can have like a list of pros and cons on something, but that's never really going to be your absolute truth on making a decision about anything, because certain things on that pros and cons list are going to weigh more than others, whether it's moving to a new location, making a decision, taking a job. Certain things, if you go to a friend and you talk to them about the job possibility that you have, and there may be like this commute that's ridiculous, and to them it's like, oh well, it's worth it in the long run if you are going to climb the corporate ladder. But to you, your family time is more important. Then you have to go with your intuition, and I always think it works out in the long run anyway. So it's like a muscle that we have to practice. It's not something that comes easily to everyone, because sometimes when you go with your intuition, you go against the crowd, and that's not always fun. I know for myself, I have been a vegetarian since I was 12, so that was the first time that I remember going against the grain, and how awful that feels to not fit in certain places, or to have people judging you for a choice that you're making that's solely for you and not for anyone else. And I didn't even say that I didn't think that I thought anybody else should be a vegetarian. It was just they assume, and I've seen this with parenting also, that if you were doing it one way, that you're saying the way that they're doing it is wrong. And I never want anyone to think that anything that I even say on my page means that they're doing it wrong. I just share my truth, and I don't expect to have the answers for everybody. I just try to give you a little bit of the piece of the puzzle for yourself. And your life is like a pot, and it's like you're making this soup, and you're going to take a little piece from here, a little piece from there. Just like I read some Wayne Dyer, I read some Abraham Hicks, I read from all over the place. And just like you're going to do the same thing, there's not a roadmap for one person that's going to work for another. And what I like to do is I like to give you a little bit of a piece of that soup, but then I like to stir up your thoughts and light the fire under the pot, rather than telling you, here's exactly what you need to do, and this is all your answers, because you know what, that would rob you of your journey. And I think that intuitively we all know what's best for ourselves, and sometimes what's going to work one day is not going to work the next, and that's part of life. That's the journey, that's the fun of it, that's the adventure. Thank God we didn't come with a handbook that tells you what's going to happen on every day of your life, or even every year. It would really be so boring. So your intuition is something that you just have to practice, and you have to trust yourself. And if you make mistakes, that's okay, because that's part of the journey too. So I am wishing you all a wonderful week. If you have a question, please go to the Facebook page, Peace, Love, Joy, and Sparkles, and message me on there. So God bless, and trust yourself. Go with your intuition. We all have it. Some of us have just cultivated it more than others. So thank you. Bye-bye.